Good evening, everyone. The meeting will come to order. I moved it up so I didn't scare people. Apparently, I still scared people. Okay. Madam Clerk, would you please read the adequate notice compliance statement, please?
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the City Clerk's office in the preparation of the Council Annual Meeting Notice dated December 15, 2022, which was properly distributed and posted per statutory requirements. Please be advised that the fire exits are to my right, your left, and at the back of the room. The city had a listening system, but it's under repair. So disregard, please.
Okay. Thank you. Well, so I have to talk louder because okay. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Ms. Allen? Here. Ms. Fox?
Here.
Ms. Hairston?
Here.
Ms. Hamlet?
Here.
Dr. Levine?
Here.
Mr. Miniger?
Here.
President Vartan?
Present. Okay. We will now do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everyone. Madam Clerk, would you please read the notices regarding closed session and hearings and comments?
A closed session meeting as authorized by state statute was announced and held prior to the start of this meeting, and the known items for discussion were listed on the published closed session agenda. Please be advised that council meetings are broadcast live on Comcast Channel 36 and Verizon Channel 30, and rebroadcast on Thursdays and Saturdays on HTTV on Comcast 36 and Verizon 33. When invited to speak, please come to the lectern, clearly state your name and address, spell your last name, and speak into the podium microphone so that your comments can be understood by all and properly recorded. Whenever an audience or council member reads from a prepared statement, please give or email a copy to the City Clerk's office at cityclerk@cityofsummit.org. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit all to be heard, speakers are asked to limit their comments to approximately 3 minutes or so in length. Unless you are using an electronic device to follow the meeting agenda or need it for professional emergency contact purposes, please turn it off. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now on to minutes for approval. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the regular and closed session meetings of December 20th, 2022, and also the organization meeting of January 3rd, 2023?
So moved.
And
Second.
Seconded. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the minutes are approved. Thank you very much. Okay. We're on to reports. Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. Yesterday, I attended some of the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Justice, Equality, and Service events throughout Summit. Thank you to Summit Together, Shaping Summit Together, and everyone who volunteered their time or made donations over the past couple of days. I know I say this often, but our volunteers are truly our community's greatest asset. Some members of council and I also attended the Summit Chinese American Association Lunar New Year celebration over the weekend. On Sunday, it was at the middle school. I am thankful that I was included again this year and especially enjoyed all of the fun traditions and beautiful decorations and the wonderful performances. Thank you to the members who strive to promote cultural understanding in our community. And it's pretty remarkable. 8 years ago, at the first time I went to a Summit Chinese American Association, it was either at Washington School or Jefferson School in the cafeteria, and then the following year, I think it was at Fountain Baptist in the cafeteria. And in the last couple of years, it has been in the middle school, and they've filled the auditorium. And it's really, really wonderful and a lovely, lovely afternoon. Now, if warmer weather is on your mind, now is the time to register for the Summit Family Aquatic Center and the Municipal Golf Course. Go to summitcommunityprograms.com for more information. And I have one more short announcement. As many of you know, I am in the 4th year of my 2nd term as the mayor of Summit. Under the city charter, Summit mayors there are no term limits, so I'm entitled to run again for a 3rd term. However, I'm just making an announcement. I am not going to run for a 3rd term. I'm not going to seek re-election. It's been an amazing experience as your mayor. I have had many joyful moments and many challenges, and I'm grateful for all of that. I have learned something new every single day, and I know that the people who run this city do so with the greatest heart. There's a lot we're going to continue to do this year. It's only January. You got me until December, and I have lots of things that I want to do. I am so grateful for this opportunity, but I will not be running for re-election, and I'm just grateful for this community. Everyone I've met, it's been a remarkable experience. So thank you, and I just wanted to let that be known. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Michael Rogers, please, for the city administrator's report.
Council President, thank you. I'm not sure how to follow that, but I will. Good news.
Don't leave.
Yeah, I'm here.
Can't do that.
Yep. So I just have 2 points for everyone. Good evening, everyone. First one, just remember I'm the messenger. Passaic Avenue will be closed from Kent Place Boulevard and Springfield Avenue beginning at 7 p.m. on Friday, January 20th through 5 a.m. on Monday, January 23rd. New Jersey American Water will be performing valve replacement work. And this is sort of emergent work they need to do at the intersection of Passaic Avenue and West End Avenue. Summit Police will be on site to direct traffic, and detours will be posted. Project work will begin 7 p.m. on Friday, January 20th, and continue during daytime and overnight hours until 5 a.m. on Monday, January 23rd. Project timeline is subject to change, weather permitting. Please contact New Jersey American Water at 1-800-272-1325 with any questions. A detour map is posted on the city website at cityofsummit.org. And my last item, curbside Christmas tree collection continues through Monday, January 30th. All ornaments, lights, and decorations must be removed. Please keep trees in the public right-of-way and not put them in plastic bags as well. Place garlands and wreaths in or next to trash cans. They will be picked up with trash collection. There are no specific pickup dates or times for Christmas trees. And please do not report a concern about tree pickup until January 30th. And that's all I have for this evening. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, City Administrator. You're clearly the good news guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'll start by addressing Mayor Radis directly. Much will be said about the Radis era in Summit's history. And I know that there's so much more that we'll accomplish together this year. But for now, I'll just say, Madam Mayor, that whoever chooses to seek the votes of this community to succeed you will have enormous shoes to fill. As a candidate, you always ran positive campaigns based on your love of this community, focused on your experience and qualifications, and outlining a vision for the role of this office. I hope candidates this year will follow in your tremendous example. Thank you.
Thank you.
So at our organization meeting a couple of weeks ago, I was pleased to outline what you can expect from me and from our government at in the year ahead. I'd like to update you now on a few items. First is Broad Street West. So a reminder that several months ago, we asked the developers to come up with a proposal that complies with the redevelopment plan, has clear financials, and prioritizes affordable housing. The developers have not yet returned with such a proposal. However, Council has restarted conversations with our planner, Topology, to get an understanding of how they will engage with the city, with the developers, and with the community at large as we work to outline a process to move forward. Meetings are taking place with fewer than a quorum of council members at a time and will be completed by the end of this week. We hope to be able to announce a process and an estimated timeline in the next month. On the Maple Street closure, or potential closure, I have tasked the Capital Projects and Community Services Committee to take the lead on a few things in relation to any potential closure in 2023. Investigate what would be required by the Department of Transportation, re-engage with the Maple Street business owners, and re-engage with the relevant boards and commissions. Again, we hope to be able to announce a course of action for Maple Street in the next month or so. And on the Facebook Live events, Mayor Radis and I were pleased to kick off these sessions that are meant to informally and virtually engage the community with questions, answers, and information. And many thanks to Amy and Megan in the communications office for getting this started. The event last Tuesday allowed us to completely eradicate the rumor about development on Broad Street East, address questions about the order of business at council meetings, discuss zoning, regional development, and a variety of other topics. Overall, I think the event was successful and that they should continue. We had about 30 people watching and actively asking questions over the course of about 40 minutes, and we've seen an additional 40 comments and more than 950 views since then. So moving forward, we have a plan to improve the connectivity and schedule the broadcast based on the data that we have related to high traffic times online and availability of council members and availability of staff. So the next Facebook Live will be next Tuesday, the 24th at noon, and that'll be with Jamie and Delia. And that's my report. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, we now have an update on the firehouse project. Chief Evers.
Council President, congratulations on your appointment as President, and welcome, Councilperson with the Council. And Mayor, it's been a great pleasure working with you over the years. I'm sorry, running again, you did a great job, and you always supported the fire department, so thank you. It's been a privilege working with you.
My pleasure to work with you.
Great. Okay, so a quick financial update on where we stand in the fire department. Real quick, so we are into our 6 months before completion. Our estimated time frame is June to complete. We're about a third of a way through our budget. We've had 12 pay applications equaling $4,592,998, and we have a balance of a little over $10.5 million left to pay the contractor. Contingency, we have a contingency budget. Any overruns, any unexpected expenses, we put money aside for that. So to date, I also have to make an apology. The numbers up here are wrong. There's one item that was missing. There was a railroad right-of insurance that is not on this list. So the actual total number of contingency cost is actually $115,576. So I'll make that correction, Rosie, when you put it on the website. So, but all in all, been very, very little money has been spent to Barama on the building itself, as far as items that were missed from the contractor or surprises. A lot of the money has been gone to New Jersey Transit for their overtime for their flagmen while we do construction in the right of way. And then, of course, we have the railroad insurance up there that was for $15,000. So far, we're doing very good with contingency. We expect to be a little more higher than that with a lot of the excavation work, but so far, we're doing very well on budgeting for our contingency cost. So real quick, for the great work of the mayor and the other Fellows First Foundation, we almost reached our goal of $405,000 for our fundraising. We have $55,000 remaining to go. There's still bricks you can purchase. The residents want to purchase bricks, they can go online, and a couple of different ways. You can submit a registration online. You can stop by Community Services and go online and fill out a form out or send a check in to the community program to sponsor a brick. Real quick, so this is a couple little things we're building. A lot of progress. Once the steel has gone up, a lot of contractors are on scene doing a lot of good work. But this is a current picture of the building. Almost all the exterior walls are completed. They're working on the roof. As of today, a lot of the plywood is on the roof. They'll start to be doing some roofing work next week. This is another view of it. All the exterior walls have been sealed. At some point in the next couple months, they'll be starting to do the brick on the outside of the building and put the windows in. So great progress going there. Just another view of the interior. A lot of the interior walls are completed. They're starting to do some drainage work up on the ceilings and the roof work, where all our utilities are going to be up in the roof. That's all been completed. And also the interior. This is one of our training mezzanines. One of our great pieces that we incorporated into this building was the ability to do a lot of on-site training. And we incorporate a lot of time and a lot of effort in doing some training on-site. This is one of our training mezzanines that's in the building. So we're excited that that's actually starting to come up out of the ground well. And it's also showing second floor, a lot of the plumbing starting to get put in up in the ceilings. So a lot of good progress. So far, there's been very, very little problems with the building as far as design flaws is, so it's been going very well with the contractor. Our underground storage tanks have been installed. They had to dig a trench for that. This is our last big piece of site work that we're looking at, and really there was really nothing underground that wasn't expected. So it's a good piece. So that tank was dug out a few weeks ago, and it was installed in the ground. That's all covered up. That big piece. This is the last big piece of site work that was completed. Another big feature we have, we're using a system called Procore that the contractors have. We requested that before we went into construction. And everything is documented. There's thousands of pictures taken a day. A lot of these things like structural components, we have a separate special inspector that comes in and inspects structural components in a building. And everything is very well documented. So we can go back, if there's any kind of question about anything, we can go back and look at the documentation that the contractor provides. So it's a really good tool to look at things that may have been missed. If there's a question, if something was completed, we go back to the archives and look at it. So good way to do it. We also had one monitoring well. I mentioned a while back there was a monitoring well on this site we had to reinstall. And this just showed that was installed and it's there in place until construction completed. And then it's just more roof work on the building, going up the trusses, and then that's it. That's it. So far, overall, we've been having very success. We're looking to complete it sometime the end of May or June. Contractor material-wise, a lot of the material issues have been resolved, so we're doing very well with our budget, and we're doing very well with our scheduling. So, and that's my report. So, yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions nobody has.
Thank you, Chief. Anybody on council? Questions?
All right.
Thank you.
Anybody from the community? Questions for the chief? Well, over here.
All righty. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Where are we? Resolutions. All right. Now we're on to resolutions. We'll start with finance, and Councilmember Miniger, please take us away.
Thank you, Council President. This is number 10083, and this resolution authorizes the transfer of appropriations in the operating budget from accounts with a surplus to those that are over. This is a regular occurrence at the beginning and ending of every budget year. This particular transfer is in the amount of $26,500, and I move to adopt this resolution.
I second.
Okay. Any comments from members of council? Comments from members of the public? Okay. Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote on this one, please, Madam Clerk.
Yes. Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Fox?
Aye.
Ms. Hairston?
Aye.
Ms. Hamlet?
Aye.
Dr. Levine?
Aye.
Mr. Miniger?
Aye.
President Vartan?
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. And finance number 2, Councilmember Miniger.
Thank you, Council President. This is number 10084, and this resolution establishes the procedure authorizing a special tax appeal attorney in consultation with the city tax assessor to file corrective appeals with Union County Board of Taxation and/or the New Jersey Tax Court. This procedure, established every year, removes the unnecessary step of having council review every single tax appeal case and authorizes action to be taken on the city's behalf by the city's tax assessor and, by extension, the special tax appeal attorney. I move to adopt this resolution.
And I second.
Okay, comments from members of council? Comments from members of the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, this motion passes as well. Number 3, Councilmember Miniger, please.
Thank you, Council President. This is number 10093, and this resolution authorizes the issuance of temporary bond anticipation note in the amount of $3,500,000 in anticipation of the Board of Education bond that will be issued sometime in July for school capital projects, an ordinance that was authorized by council back in December. These temporary notes will cover the soft costs of these projects and are being issued in order to wait for interest rates to go down a bit by July. Because Summit is a Type 1 school district, the issuance of a temporary note must be done through the city. I move to adopt this resolution.
And I second.
Okay, thank you. Comments from members of council? Comments from members of the community? And we're going to do a roll call vote on this one as well, please.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Fox?
Aye.
Ms. Hairston?
Aye.
Ms. Hamlet?
Aye.
Dr. Levine?
Aye.
Mr. Miniger?
Aye.
President Vartan?
Aye. All right, that resolution passes as well. Number 4, Councilmember Miniger.
Thank you, Council President. This is number 10102, and this resolution authorizes the issuance of a special emergency note not exceeding $510,000. During the pandemic, many months in a row, the parking utility had zero revenue. The state allowed the Summit Parking Utility to issue special emergency notes to cover this lost revenue. $850,000 in special emergency notes was issued in 2020, with the agreement that the utility would pay that back in 5 years' time. At $170,000 paid back every year, The third installment will be paid back this February, with 2025 being the final year that we do this. I move to adopt this resolution.
I second.
Okay, comments from members of council? Comments from members of the public? Seeing none, roll call vote for this one too, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Fox?
Aye.
Ms. Hairston?
Aye.
Ms. Hamlet?
Aye.
Dr. Levine?
Aye.
Mr. Mittiger?
Aye.
President Bartan?
Aye. Okay, that one is adopted. And last one, Councilmember Mittiger.
Thank you, Council President. This is number 10109, and this resolution approves a one-year contract extension for the grant writing services of Millennium Strategies LLC, not to exceed $42,000 per contract year. 2022 was the best grant year ever for the City of Summit, with over $2 million in grants awarded and another $2 million in grant applications pending review. Millennium not only secures millions of dollars for the city, they actively bring opportunities to the attention of our city departments. In the coming year, Millennium will continue to expand what they bring by bringing grant opportunities to the city's boards and commissions as well. The grant money secured while under contract with Millennium includes major safety improvements, like $484,000 for Summit's Traffic Signal Improvement Fund project, and a major grant for the upcoming renovation of Maybe Playground, among many others. This contract renewal is a worthy investment for our city to make once again, and I move that we adopt this resolution.
I second.
Okay, comments from members of council?
Through you, Council President,
Sure thing.
I just want to congratulate, I believe, Director Aaron Schrager, probably, and the fire chief probably spend the most time with Millennium and getting those applications in. And so working with them to put those in. So thank you for that work, and keep it going.
Yes, Councilmember Hamilton.
Just one question, Council President, and it might be something I just don't know, but who determines the strategic plan for Summit working with Millennium? When I was looking at the strategic plan, I just truly don't know who determines what our priorities are for the grants that we're going to secure.
Sure. City Administrator.
Council President, so Councilman, we have the senior manager, account manager will come in through Zoom or come in person to meet with department heads to go over what they're looking to pursue and the types of grants. So it actually is formulated through the department heads. Yeah.
Thank you.
And they've met a couple times directly with boards and commissions as well, right,
Yes,
Michael?
that's
Yeah.
correct.
Thank you
Yep.
for that. Yes, Councilmember Fox?
I believe that also in a lot of the committees, the council members have spoken with the department heads about so the priorities that the department heads are communicating are not just the department heads, but the committees as well. And this is a conversation we have every year, but I think the strategic plan made a very big difference in terms of those meetings at the beginning of each year and coming up with sort of the priorities have focused everyone's attention in a way that I think has really benefited this project. And I'm happy to support this. There were years where I was questioning its value, but I definitely believe with the strategic plan that this is a very good investment in money.
Anybody else?
I just have a
Yes,
question.
Councilmember.
And through you, Council President, maybe Michael can answer this. I think we have one more year that we can automatically renew, and then next year we have to revisit this, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay.
The counter, just for the purposes of a little discussion, right? The counter argument would be, well, just get rid of them, bring it in-house, they know what to do, right? The department heads know their programming, but really, it's a tremendous, tremendous amount of work filling out these applications, right? And I was also similarly skeptical, we do this every year, we have this conversation, is it really worth it? $2 million, I mean, I'm sold, so that's me.
And I just want to add, I've been, as Chief knows, I've been helping to raise the money for the private funding for the firehouse. And I like to think I'm a superwoman, I can do everything, but I'm not a grant writer. So I get on the phone with them and I give them the pertinent information and they send back the draft of the grant and we look at it and then I send it back. So I just don't have it in my bandwidth and I don't work as hard as the department heads. So I think it's well worth the money.
All right. Anybody else? Members of council? Members of the public? All right, seeing none, I think we're going to just say, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, and that one is approved as well. On to capital projects and community services, Councilmember Levine.
Thank you, Council President. My first one is ID number 9984. This resolution authorizes the naming of the Parkline pedestrian bridge, which extends across Morris Avenue. The Parkline Foundation has received a generous donation from the Lord family, and as a show of appreciation for this family's commitment to the pedestrian bridge, the Parkline Foundation wishes to name the bridge the Lord Family Bridge. The foundation also seeks to install plaques on the approaches to the bridge, as well as on the abutments facing Morris Avenue. These signs must meet state and federal codes for signage. And the idea is that the signs will be visible as a pedestrian while you're walking, not necessarily legible as a driver. On a personal note, I've walked this bridge and it is truly special. It's not only a means of connectivity, but a destination in and of itself. I move to adopt this resolution.
And I second that.
Okay, comments from members of council? Councilmember Allen.
I just want to say this is an enormous feat, and I see Rob Rubino and Jay Brinkerhoff in the audience, so I don't want to take their thunder, but these two have worked really hard over many years, along with council members and the mayor, and you know what? I can't believe that we are here. That bridge is going to connect our town, and as we see green space feverishly disappearing across our state, there were a few people that had a vision to maintain green space and a place where people could be safe, and families and friends and whoever could walk together. So thank you for all this extraordinary work, and thank you to the Lord family for their overwhelmingly generous donation.
Thank you. Other council members? Comments from members of the community?
Good evening, Council President, members of council, mayor, city administrator. Robert Rubino, 84 Prospect Hill Avenue, Summit, New Jersey, president of Summit Parkline Foundation. This is a great moment for the Parkline. I really want to express my gratitude to Al and Lucy Lord. Just as a way of background, since the Parkline, as you all know, has been privately funded and also funded by the sweat of the brow of many volunteers. Al and Lucy Lord believed in the project when not many did, and their contribution came after they were so grateful for the way the volunteer project turned out for the Boy Scouts, which they're big supporters of, and that was the first Eagle Wings that were earned by the Scouts coming together, and roughly saved us about $300,000 of quotes that we got to clear the original Parkline land, which was overrun with knotweed. And it was a great project over the course of about a month of weekends. And then we surprisingly got a call from Al Lord himself for the donation for the pedestrian bridge, which really kind of helped us fundraise for a lot of other projects, because once, I guess, one big donation comes in, folks kind of believe in a project, and I encourage others who may be watching from home to take note that great projects like this are truly a community effort and unifying for the community, which it has been. So I agree with Councilwoman Allen's characterization and Councilwoman Levine's characterization that it is a great destination in and of itself. I recently jumped over it as well on a run, felt a lot safer than crossing that triple cross section across, what's that avenue? Mars Avenue. So it's really been.
It's been a while since you were up here on the dais.
Yes.
The big one.
So we're quite grateful for their support and continued support for them and all the community. So thank all of you.
Thank you. Other comments from members of the public?
Thank you, gentlemen, for your really hard work and leadership.
Yes. I'll also add my words of thanks for the outstanding generosity of the Lord family, as well as the Parkline Foundation and former Council President Rubino and Jay. Thank you for being here. All right, all those, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passes. Thank you very much. Councilmember Levine, number 2, please.
Thank you, Council President. ID number 10034 authorizes 2023 consultant professional surveying services to be done by Stonefield Engineering and Design, LLC, not to exceed $100,000 in services for January 1st through December 31st of 2023. Our city's engineering division recommends that we enter into contract with 2 firms for on-call engineering services, and you will hear about a second one just after this resolution. Stonefield Engineering is known for their excellent surveying work, and I move this adoption for resolution. I move to adopt this resolution.
And I second it.
Okay, comments from members of council? Comments from members of the public? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Councilmember Levine.
Thank you, Council President. ID number 10041 authorizes 2023 consultant engineering and LSRP services in excess of $17,500. LSRP, if anyone listening at home does not know what that stands for, it is Licensed Site Remediation Professional Services. The company is called Mott McDonald, and the contract is not to exceed $100,000. The type of work that the site remediation engineering firm does is cleaning up things like environmental contamination or exposure. I move to adopt this resolution.
And I second that.
Okay, comments from members of council?
I just wanted to add that this is a not-to-exceed contract, and so this is something that allows us to have Mott McDonald on, and also the previous one as well, to have those services on call for when we need them. It doesn't mean we spend $100,000 on each of these contracts. But these are consultants that have very specific skills that we need, and we have projects with this LSRP where we actually do need this particular firm to do the work because we've been working with them for multiple years. So, so I think it's a very smart way to handle it. So I support this.
Good point. Yes, Councilmember Allen?
Question through you, Council President. So it's, I don't know which way to look. It's for contamination, is that correct? Okay, so I just want to make sure. So what kind of project have we used? Is there a contaminated site that we've used them? And second, part A. Part B is this also connected to Broad Street West? Like, would we use them for Broad Street West? Because I know they talked about contamination. That might be its own thing.
So we'll let
Okay.
Director Schrager answer part A.
Yes, through you, Council President, the city does own 4 sites that are classified as contaminated. One was the firehouse site, one is the DPW facility, and 2 are the transfer station. One is the lower building, the compost building, one is the whole site because it's a landfill. So those are the properties we do own. There's annual requirements for them, there's ultimate remediation plans. All 4 of those are in different stages of where they are along the schedule. So this is, and it depends on the regulations, what we have to do each year, so. And what was there B? You'll do B, I'll do B.
B was about Broad Street.
Well, it kind of answered with the firehouse.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
you covered both. Thank you so much. Any other comments from members of council? Comments from members of the public? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. And final in caps, Councilmember Levine.
Thank you, Council President. ID number 10106 authorizes a 2-year contract extension, purchase and delivery of odor control chemicals for sewage from January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2024. This is also a not-to-exceed contract, as was just described regarding the other 2, and this is a not-to-exceed $75,000 contract per contract year. And this also serves to approve a rate increase requested by the company called Evoqua Water Technologies. Their original bid stated $2.84 per gallon. It's now, there's been a general increase in costs related to supply chain shortages and other shortages and systems nationwide, up to $3.32 per gallon. I know that in discussions with other municipalities, this rate seems fair and on par with what other entities are paying for similar treatment. I move to adopt this resolution.
I second it.
Okay, comments from members of council? Comments from members of the public? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries as well. All right, on to community programs and parking services. Councilmember Hamlin.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to introduce ID number 10077, which authorizes a grant application submission for Maybe Playground. The city has identified that Maybe Playground Improvement Project is high priority. As many of you know, the playground facility is over 25 years old, and despite regular maintenance, has suffered from extensive wear and tear over the years. Unfortunately, the city can no longer get parts for the playground structures, if you've seen it recently, as the company that originally built the playground is no longer in business. In addition, the current playground structures do not meet ADA standards. One of the main goals of this project is to provide sensory-friendly structures that can be enjoyed by children who have special needs. As such, a complete rehabilitation of the playground is needed to bring this facility into compliance with ADA standards and ensure that it is safe and accessible for youth of all abilities. Personally, I'm very excited about this opportunity, the renovation of Maybe Playground. Every time I walk by Maybe, I can just see the endless possibilities, and I think it's something that we can all be very excited about for this year. The application requires an individual resolution authorizing the submission of the grant application. Therefore, I move to adopt this resolution.
And I second.
All right, thank you. Councilmember comments?
Sure. I'm
Councilmember
so pleased to hear this. This is wonderful news, wonderful job in this committee, and I'm so excited to hear that special attention is being paid to making it more accessible for differently abled children. I think that's wonderful, and I'm just very much in support of this.
Thank you. Other council member comments? I'll just add that if we could try to get the wooden train back, that was a big deal. That was a big deal for young Greg, so I'm hoping that we can head in that direction. Any comments from members of the public? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, on to law and labor. Councilmember Hairston.
Thank you, Council President. I'm introducing ID number 10111, resolution to confirm the mayor's appointment to the Rent Commission. And this is pending our discussion that we just had in closed session to fill the landlord's position on the Rent Commission. The council vetted the mayor's approval for Brent Cromwell to fill that position. Brent is a longtime resident of Summit, and he is a landlord for a residential property. And this appointment is for 3 years with a term expiring on December 31st, 2025. And Mayor, I don't know if there's anything you want to say, but I think I first need to move to adopt this resolution.
Second?
Okay.
I just
Mayor?
think, Mr. Cromwell will be a wonderful addition, and we really do need on the Rent Commission a strong voice from a landlord. So I'm very happy with his suggestion.
Okay. Council members, comments? I'll just add, for information on renters' rights and landlords' responsibilities, go to the City of Summit website under the Rent Commission page. Thank you. Okay. Any comments from members of the community on that one? Nope. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. Number 2, Councilmember Hairston, please.
Thank you, Council President. Introducing ID number 10092, which will authorize the extension of sick leave with pay for an employee in the Department of Community Services, Division of Public Works. And this recommendation came for an employee in the Parks and Shade Tree Division. that has leave available in the bank to have their leave extended from December 13th through February 28th, and I move this resolution through for adoption.
Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Council member comments? Comments from members of the community? Okay, none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you. And number 3, Councilmember Hairston.
Thank you, Council President. I'm introducing ID number 10103, which is a resolution to authorize sick leave with pay for an employee in the fire department, requiring extension of their sick leave. And this would be similarly from the leave bank to have extended leave with pay through March 11th, 2023, and pending our discussion in our closed session, I move this resolution through for adoption, but I first want to say we wish both of our employees a recovery, a swift recovery.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Council member comments on this one? Comments from members of the public? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And this motion carries as well. Okay, we're on to the consent agenda portion of the evening. Do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. Any council member comments on anything on the consent agenda? Okay. Any comments from members of the public on anything on the consent agenda? This is all the stuff listed on page 5. Anybody following along at home? Okay. Nothing there. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And the consent agenda is adopted. Okay. So tonight, we have a couple of items for discussion, action, or referral, and both are from the Community Programs and Parking Services Committee. So I will toss it to Councilmember Hamlet for the first, the description of the first one, and then we'll have a discussion.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to introduce ID 10080 for discussion action referral. This is in regards to the memo dated on January 9th, which identifies increases in fines for specific parking violations. I would like to turn this over to Director McNanny, who has done a tremendous amount of research on this topic, and I am in full support of this initiative, as I do believe there needs to be enhanced penalties for parking violations. Director McNanny?
Okay.
Good evening. Happy New Year, everyone. I don't think I've seen everyone since the new year. Congratulations, Councilman Barton, as Council President, and Mayor Radis. It's always been a pleasure working with you.
You as
And the
well.
respect that you've given all city employees is much greatly appreciated. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Just,
Well deserved.
thank you. Matter of process, could we take the next one first? Because it really goes in line with why we're possibly reviewing fines and penalties.
Sure, sure.
Would that be a
Did you
problem?
want to give a quick description of that one too, and then we can
Sure.
toss back to?
And then I'll
Okay.
queue up while.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Sure, I'd like to introduce ID 10081 for discussion action referral. This is in reference, I apologize, the next one, right? Okay, sorry. I'd like to introduce ID 10081, and this is in regards to the solar-powered safety sticks that Director McNanny will give us a demo on very shortly. And I personally had the opportunity to view this demo along with Councilman Miniger, and we thought it was a really great piece of technology, and we're excited to see the demo tonight, and we really think that it will prohibit and enforce illegal parking downtown, which will be really help move traffic along quickly and smoothly. So Director McNanny.
Sure. Through you, Council President?
Of course.
Just a few items. How we got here was during COVID, we had to put some curbside pickup spaces downtown. We also, for the restaurant businesses, to help them out, we also did many parklets, and then the closure of Maple Street. Since post-COVID, we've noticed a few things that were a direct relation to lack of parking downtown. One of them was all the parklets on Union Place. So council has made decisions to remove those from the parklet program. There's still parklet program available, but not on Union Place. So that's going to free up 8 spaces, which is vitally important to that area because Union Place is one of, if not the busiest street in downtown Summit. Also, what we decided to do was to change the time limits. That's another way of combating people that stay at street meters for a long period of time. So on the north side of Union Place, what we're also doing is we're changing that down to 30 minutes. So we've enacted these, the council has enacted these already. We're in the process of making these official changes in the street. So there'll be more information from the communications office about those initiatives that we've already done. And the next is to combat the double and triple illegal parking that constantly goes on downtown in official loading zones, on crosswalks, bus stops, fire hydrants. My favorite spot is in front of the diner. That's fire hydrants, plain to see, but everyone parks there. So again, this is something that we came upon through the police department. As a matter of fact, Sergeant Daly saw it and brought it to me, and we brought it to council for possible discussion. So what it is the Sentry Safety Stick. And, well, that's not going to work that way. Okay. So what it is, it's a bollard that has a camera inside it. And when someone pulls into a illegally parked area, or prohibited areas, better known as, it will actually take a picture. It's like our ALPR on the cars, but this is a standalone bollard that will go actually on the sidewalk. Currently, we have these ugly yellow sand-filled barricades with a sign that says no parking.
And people move them.
And people move them with their vehicles, believe it or not. So again, we try a variety of things to try to combat this really big issue downtown, especially with crosswalks. People, a lot of pedestrians, you know, we have been very fortunate, but we need to combat the problem at this time. So with that, there are locations that will be installed around this downtown area, and hopefully it will combat the problem. What will happen is after 90 seconds, a picture will be taken of the illegally parked vehicle. The next day, that information comes to parking services. We review it. We have the option of, if it's a legally authorized vehicle, so to speak, a tractor-trailer truck in a commercial loading zone will not receive a ticket. But if they're parked illegally blocking other streets, they will receive a ticket. So again, this will be, we'll have a toll campaign, if it's agreed upon, out to the public to try to combat this issue. Then that information would go to the court system. The court will actually mail out the parking ticket. It has to go through the municipal court system, and they will handle, once the ticket is mailed out, they handle all the correspondence and all the questions from customers, whoever received the ticket. And if anyone wants to dispute that ticket, they do the same process. They go to the municipal court, through the municipal court system.
So can I ask a question? So if like an emergency vehicle, the EM, you know, they
Right.
pull up in that space because there's a crisis, 90 seconds, a picture will be taken, you'll review it the next day, and that, of course, is not a problem.
Right. So we could also, what we currently have within our ALPR system, our parking permit system, is what's called a whitelist. And a whitelist is any authorized vehicle that is a police car, an ambulance, a fire truck, parking services vehicles. We don't promote illegal parking, but in certain circumstances, they have to park somewhere. So those will not be ticketed, and we will dismiss them through the court system properly.
Can you, through you, Council President, can you distinguish, or can this bollard thing distinguish between a car that's parked at the curb and a car that's maybe in a traffic lane, but it, you know, sort of parallel with a no parking area? Is it smart enough to know that?
Well, what will happen is with the company's engineering firm, we will set out, I have a map that I'm going to show you shortly that kind of has draft areas, but each camera has an 18 to 25 foot radius. So depending upon if it's like on the curb at Union Place by Starbucks, we're going to have to adjust that a little bit. We may have to put 2. But if it's a straight-on, pull-on parking space, then if they're in the lane and they double park, they should get a ticket as well.
But if you're in it, I guess what I'm wondering is if you're, for example, stopped and you're waiting to, right by Starbucks, you're waiting to get on this to merge into the circle, you could be sitting there 90 seconds while, because other cars are in the circle and pedestrians are crossing in a crosswalk. Will that trigger a ticket
It would
for you?
trigger a picture being taken, and then that's something that we would manually look at. If you see a pedestrian crossing the street and someone's waiting for that pedestrian to cross the street, we will not obviously issue them a ticket.
So you'll be able to capture all that information?
Yeah, that's with part of the implementation, where
Okay.
we can look at, and I want to see visually how that's all going to work, but yes,
So,
Okay.
so the bollard takes the picture, you look at it the next day, you trigger the ticket.
yes,
Right.
to the court.
Right.
So then there's going to be, especially initially, if we're not sure, then we will dismiss tickets because we don't want to give them prematurely or incorrectly,
Okay,
because we don't want to waste the court's time either.
okay, thank you.
Can I ask you? Sure. Right, through you, Council President. I think it's really cool that you're doing something new and innovative. We need to solve the problem of the double parking. So I'm really on board with, figuring this out. Question for you. So could it be longer than 90 seconds? Does it have to be 90 seconds? Is that the,
It can be, but then you get into if you go into minutes, like anything longer than 90 seconds, there's something, a rule of thumb of stopping or standing. And then people usually say to us, well, I'm parked and I'm sitting here in the car, so there's, what we don't even want them stopping their vehicles. So, again, we can adjust it. I just don't know how far, because then everyone's going to say, well, I have 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and they're still illegally parked. That's what we're trying to stop, is the illegal parking. We're putting 15-minute express a lot more downtown, another 20 spaces downtown, so that people need to run in and out. They'll have the capability of doing so. We really need to combat the illegal parking.
so to Councilwoman Fox's question, I just want to make sure I'm clear. So I see a lot where you come around the corner to Starbucks and someone is maybe waiting for someone to pull out, or they're simply just double parked in the street. That won't necessarily, so the cars are parked, and then someone stops in the middle of the street, they come around, and then they have to go around this parked car. Is the parked car in the street actually going to get the ticket?
Yes.
Okay, so it can tell that, that's great. Yay.
And I have a
I'm
little
all for that.
I have a little demonstration, if you bear with me a minute, that'll
sure.
show.
Sorry, we're
Okay.
getting ahead of you.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Okay.
I'm looking for the excitement of it. I think it's great. So bear with me while I get this going. All right, I might need Rosie's expertise here for a
Is
minute.
it the YouTube?
Yeah,
Just reduce the, minimize your screen there, and you'll see it. Do you see YouTube?
no, unfortunately I do not.
Go to the internet.
Would you mind coming down here, Rosie? No?
Where are we headed?
Yeah.
Nicole told me it was going to be on the bar on the bottom.
The internet?
I'm looking and I'm not,
Blue one on
unfortunately,
the-
I'm not,
It's
Is
the
the
third
blue one on the
in.
left there?
Yeah.
this one?
Yeah,
Can't see any.
there, that one.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you got to
How do I clear this out, though? Oh, there it
There
goes.
we go.
Okay.
There we are.
I'm not all that technically savvy.
Each day in cities across the country, people park where they shouldn't, in front of fire hydrants, loading zones, and bus stops. Most of us would never do this. It's not safe. You might be thinking that this really can't be that much of a problem. We can see where you were coming from, because none of us would park where we shouldn't. The shocker is in the cities where our technology is deployed, we average 7 people per day, per spot, parking where they shouldn't. These are not people who just pulled over to check a text message real quick. These are people who actually flat out parked at bus stops, loading zones, and fire hydrants. The problem is actually staggering. It does not have to be this way. Parking in front of these spots creates safety hazards and have a big trickle-down effect that many people do not consider. If a person parks in front of a fire hydrant, obviously this causes problems. Now the fire department personnel either have to go around the car or through it to get hooked up. loss of lives. When someone parks at the crosswalk, it now causes people to have to walk between cars, and people in wheelchairs cannot get over the curb. A person who parks at a bus stop now causes the bus to have to block traffic in 2 different directions. This causes people to have to walk between parked cars and onto the busy street to board the bus. All cities have parking enforcement officers to write tickets for this reckless behavior. The problem is no city can hire enough officers to deter and enforce the laws. Meet Sentry Safety Stick, a virtual officer that supports your parking enforcement officers in protecting no parking zones 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We help make your city safer. Sentry Safety Stick is available to qualified cities at no charge. Contact us to find out more.
Just go back to my presentation. I don't know why this is doing this. Let's go down here. Okay. So that was the demonstration, and here again is what it would look like on the curb. So again, all of the yellow barriers that are out there will be removed. So again, aesthetically, it's very much appealing to the downtown. So then what will happen, here's a look at the inside of it with the infrared camera. It then, the violation is captured, it comes to parking services, and then it goes to the court for processing. So that, I've already spoke with the municipal court, they're all for it. And then it just goes through council, whatever fines are associated would have to go to the AOC and get confirmed. So that would be, now here is, and it's hard to see, but here are some, and they're in your packet as well. These are very draft locations. I don't want everyone to get alarmed of how many are out there. It's just to show our real problem areas within downtown. So if I had my wish list, yes, every one of these locations would have one, but that's probably not practical, especially starting out. So obviously Union Place and some of Springfield Avenue, where the bump out is by the promenade, people try to park in that, and that's right by crosswalk. So those are areas we definitely don't want to have happen. So, and also the loading zones, because if a tractor trailer is coming to make a delivery during the day and it's blocked by either Lyft or Uber drivers or just anyone just sitting there on their phone, they can't make deliveries. So we really have to enforce the commercial loading zones. And we can always look to see if there's other areas we can create more loading zones. That's always something that Aaron and I always try to review at least once a year. So any suggestions on that, we'd be more than willing to accept. So then it would be, the next steps would be obviously to enact anything, if council does agree. An ordinance would have to be enacted. So that means an introduction and a hearing to actually put it on the books and what it does, what the purpose is, what fines are related, and what the course of the fine system will be. Locations would need to be approved. A contract would need to be approved. And then upon approval of the fines, location, ordinance, and the court system, they need at least a month's time. So again, this is very flexible. If there's questions that council needs answers to, we don't have to do this. I gave a timeline in my memo, but again, if there's more information that you require, whenever everyone feels comfortable to move forward with this, we will get it installed. I would prefer probably March, maybe close to April, only to prevent any snow that hasn't hit us yet. So, but we can get everything in preparation for it. So I'm open to any questions you may have.
Through you, Council President.
Yep, Councilman, you're gonna go first.
Is there any chance that the vendor allows some type of grace period at the beginning of this? The way that you're planning to offer for the Union Place changes? You know, you're gonna have Union Place, you're gonna first tell people that, by the way, you're over with the new rules. Or does this fall outside of those kind of grace period?
Usually if you
situations?
implement something like this for enforcement purposes, you start it right out the gate, and this is the new process. This is the new program.
Okay.
And I think that prior to it, if council is willing to go forward with it, once the hearing is approved and all of the steps are in place, you know, we can have a public program and to get the word out and to let people know that these are coming and install them and don't make them live yet. Let
Right.
people get used to them, that they would get, I could find out if they would give out a warning first. That would help us so that if it's the same plate over and over again, that helps us with the municipal court judge to let them know that this is someone who constantly parks illegally and, and it's up to the judge to have any leniency in that respect.
Yeah, if the vendor would allow that, I would think that that would be a really great way to proceed.
I can definitely ask, sure.
And can you tell us about how this is able to be free, the city?
Yes, so I don't know if it was stated in the demo, but to reiterate that, there's no upfront cost to the city for the equipment. There's no ongoing maintenance costs. What it is they take $15 per ticket that is issued. So then therefore, they maintain it, they keep it, they supply them. If there's vandalism, yes, the city will be responsible for vandalism, and we will square all that away with the city attorney through the contract aspect of it. But yes, it is a great thing, especially in these times when I really don't have any extra capital money due to COVID and other things we're working on. So this is, to us, a win-win. We're not laying out any capital outlay, any operating outlay. There's no ongoing costs to my operating budget each year. So again, with further discussions, we can determine whether we want 1 year with maybe a 2-year renewal or a 1-year renewal up to maybe 3 years. We could try it out that way, do whatever type of contract council would be comfortable with. So again, we don't have to go into a 5-year contract and then we're stuck with something that we're not happy with. Because this is new to us too. The city of Garfield, New Jersey does have it. It works very, very well there. And it has combated their illegal parking. Some people are out of town, and I think we could maybe put up some signage by it that says, this is a prohibited parking area, especially for visitors to town. They may not know. Summit residents, I'm sure, will figure it out very quickly.
So just before we move on for 1 second, so just for the people watching and for the people at home, what we're doing right now is we're just having a discussion about this. So we're not making any decisions tonight about whether we're moving forward or not. It's just a way for us to get an idea of what's potentially on the table. And then as a next step, we would have to bring it back to the committee, the other boards and commissions that we have that are relevant, and then we would have to do the timeline that's listed up there, which is ordinance introduction, ordinance adoption with a hearing, and then a bunch of other things related to the contract. So just wanted everybody to know where we are on this. Who had hands? Mayor, Councilmember Levine. Mayor.
A comment and a question. One, anybody who's taking driver ed knows you don't park in a crosswalk, you don't park at fire hydrants,
Right.
You don't park where there's striping on the street. So
Right.
I'm not so much in favor of putting signs up to let people from out of town. They've all taken the same course that our kids and we've all taken. So
That's
That's
definitely
my
an option as
personal
far as I'm
opinion.
concerned.
and then how are they installed? Are they screwed in? I mean,
Yes, they're screwed into the pavement.
and it doesn't interfere with any piping, wiring.
No, we always would call out for, let's say,
the-
call outs to make sure that
for the
underground,
PSHE.
oh yeah, no,
Right,
we would,
okay. All right,
yeah,
that's it.
that's required by law.
Thank you.
Councilmember Levine.
Thank you, through you, Council President. I have a question. Anytime I hear about a camera or this type of technology, I'm always curious about privacy, and I know some residents may have questions.
Sure.
So if you could educate us a little bit, for example, how long does it keep the images that it's taken, and who can query the database and access the photos? And does it actually read license plates and scan for license plates, or does it just take an image, whether or not the license plate is visible or is folded or the car's oriented in a way that it can't get the license plate? I'm just curious, about a little bit of, I guess that's two parts, the technology of the image it's taking, and then how long that's held onto, where it's stored, and who can access it.
Okay. So as far as it takes an image of the license plate, just like our
Okay.
ALPR right now.
Yes.
Okay, so the only reason why parking services would look at it, and even with our current ALPR system, is to review a picture for evidence for the municipal court. That's the only reason why we would view anything. It's held in the cloud, and other than that, we don't store anything here in Summit. And also, how long it is usually 60 days, is usually how long it lasts for, because I believe a municipal court case must be solved within 60 days. So we may store it for 90 in case it gets extended. But normally, we give that information to the court if it's a court case, so they have that information. And then, so therefore, that's why we only have 60 days. And there would be no other reason to access the data other than for judiciary responsibility to the court. So my staff, my enforcement staff does not have access to it, even currently.
Got it.
They don't know who the cars are registered to. They have none of that personal information. They just have a plate and a vehicle. That's all that they see.
Because I know the automated license plate reader system, you need, a login and a case number and a reason, and they're audited regularly by the state, at the state level. So I'm just asking because it feels very similar. And then I guess my second quick question is this the type of thing upon rollout? I'm curious, maybe Garwood, was it who you mentioned?
Garfield.
Garfield. Had they started by trialing several in, high traffic, like areas where they have a lot of illegally parked cars, just trialing several, seeing how it goes, and then, making decisions about quantities thereafter?
Yes, actually, they didn't. They employed a whole bunch of them. And they got inundated with tickets, and they were quite overwhelmed. And that's why I'm suggesting that was my wish list.
Yeah.
Some areas might need to, but just to really look at a little section and start out with that and see how it works for everyone.
Okay.
And to iron out any kinks. This is new to us, too. So I want to make sure that it does capture the proper information that we need, and that the transition goes through the court system and everything works fine.
Through you, Council President. So I had two questions. You mentioned snow. Is snow a problem operationally for these
No,
bollards?
not, just like our kiosks that are solar paneled. If ice builds up, we have to very gingerly get the ice off, but no, because it's tilted. It's
Oh,
tilted.
Just
Yeah.
installation.
Yeah,
Okay.
Not in the way of plows, right? They're on the sidewalk.
they're on the sidewalk, so that'll be a help.
And then the other question is, we're paying $15 for each ticket that's issued.
Correct.
So it's not each photograph. So if you get an image and it's not,
It's ticket
It's-
issued.
okay, so once you trigger it for the ticket, that's when we get charged.
Correct.
Do we know how often these kinds of things get invalidated based on is there a percentage of these tickets that
I
get
could find
thrown
that out for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I suspect there are going to be some that are going to be challenged. It's a new technology, and people are going to say, oh, well, this doesn't work, and it really doesn't show that I was double parked, or whatever. So it'd be interesting to know sort of how accurate.
Usually a picture says 1,000 words.
It depends what the picture is of.
Well, but like I said, we have ALPR right now, and we use that as evidence, the
Okay.
picture of the vehicle. So again, this is something newer, and we will look at it to make sure it's accurate.
I guess what I'm trying to avoid is being issued, having a ticket be issued, we get charged $15, and then it gets invalidated, and we end up
Absolutely. That's why
eating
there's
that.
going to be a review of each violation.
And I'm sure it's related to the contract, the wording of the contract, but the hope would be that there's no quota, right? There's no minimum number of tickets
never.
that we have to get to in order for that, okay.
No.
Yes, Councilmember
last
Allen.
question,
And
I just-
I'm sorry, I keep looking this way.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, Councilmember Hairston.
Through you, Council President. So I always love the carrot and the stick. And so in keeping with Councilmember Minigar's request that we really look into an opportunity to warn residents that this has happened, I also want to ask that our communications officer really be proactive, like our police chief, in putting those signs up that let folks know this is coming, because I don't like our residents feeling like we're trying to benefit off of their not knowing.
Correct.
Or forgetting, because people are coming back into how do I drive my car again and how do I behave. So that would be my ask.
And that's a reason why we're having the DAR this evening, is to start the discussion
Yeah.
and get, public feedback. And then, yes, do a public information campaign.
Yes.
To let people know. And the warnings is a great idea as well.
Okay. Councilmember Allen.
Just one quick question, kind of on Councilwoman Fox's heels. And you probably don't know the answer to this, but I'm curious, how many pictures come in generally in a day? Because if you're the lone person looking at all those pictures, I want to make sure that it doesn't consume a lot of your time, because you're already stretched. So I just want to make sure it makes sense. Because I have 30,000 pictures on my phone, so.
Thank you for that. We will look at that, thanks.
Well, I think the one thing that everybody has to remember is this really is going to be a huge help to Director McNanny, because we're missing so many violations right now because we just don't have the city staff to do that. And I mean, I drive down every day. I call Rita every day when it happens. I drop off at Lincoln Hubbard, and there's a car literally on the corner of, Crescent, Rita. And so, I mean, to your point, we can warn the public as much as we want, but there's cars that are doing this all day, every day, and it's already illegal.
Right.
And this is really an opportunity to crack down on it and make traffic flow a lot faster, which I think is going to be a huge win.
Okay. Other council member comments? All right. Questions from members of the public on this one? Come on up.
Hi, Claire Toth, T-O-T-H, 11 Sunset Drive. I think this is a fabulous idea. As someone who works downtown, I certainly see this every day. And I've got a couple of questions about this. And I suspect it's more homework for you, Director McNanny. First is how sturdy they are. I'd like to know how sturdy they are. We've certainly seen drivers in the past couple of years damage all of our prior attempts to keep them from parking illegally. And my second question, I don't want to give people ideas, is what happens when someone parks illegally and then pops a paper bag or a sock over the top of this thing to block the camera? Is there any way to see that happening and do something about it? Thank you.
Good questions.
Through you, Council President. On the first question, I will find out the sturdiness of them, but they are implanted into the sidewalk areas. So I hope and pray people are not driving up on sidewalks in Summit. So that's why we like the fact that it will be on the sidewalk, and it won't be right abutting. It'll be a little back, so for its protection. But I will find that answer to that question. Yes, we will have our regular officers, including myself, going around, and if they turn into little puppets, we'll make sure that we remove the wrongful materials and, check on vandalism. We would hope not. It's really not to catch anyone. It's really to change behavior. And it really is, the areas that we're going to choose through council's recommendations are real problem areas. It's all day, every day, all day long. So that's all we're looking for. That's all we're trying to do is improve the illegal parking downtown.
Okay. Yeah, our clerk has a question.
Sure.
Rita, do we have to have signed per state regulation that says photo?
There's a sticker that could be put on it that says that it's photo enforced. Sure. We can do that as well.
Fair
So
enough.
I'll get all the attributes or anything we can, so I don't want to have to put up another sign, believe me. So if it says that, because I did ask that question, can we put some sort of sticker on it that lets people know that's photo enforced? And hopefully that they're just pictures of vehicles.
Okay. Come on up, sir.
Hi, Diego Hoik, 9 Argyle Court. I think that it's a great idea. The one watch out, I'm guessing this is not made by large corporations with deep pockets. So I work a lot with startups, and in the present financial environment, we have to be concerned about their ability to exist in 6 months, a year. So they're building these pylons which are capital intensive. Who knows how much runway they have? So I would be concerned about things like warranty, tech support, who pays for their eventual removal if we don't like it, what happens if it doesn't work, because a lot of these startups work with the minimum viable prototype, and those minimum viable prototypes may not be as good as advertised. So that's my one concern, is the tech aspect of it, just making sure that we spend our money wisely. Thanks.
Thank you, good point. Yeah, please.
Yes, we will be looking at all that, their financial background. Also, they have a patent pending, so they're highly invested in this. And again, it's in San Francisco, it's in Garfield, and I will give you a full list of locations and background on the firm itself for further review as well. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. So do we have other comments on this one related to the safety stick, or can we move on to the other? No other council member comments? All right, so we'll move on to the other one, which is, we took it backwards. So this one will be the recommendation to change parking fines. So, Councilmember Hamlet or Director McNanny, Councilmember Hamlet.
Do you want me to introduce it again?
Yeah, what are we, so the recommendation is, per the memo, to increase the fines for parking illegally, right?
Would you like to talk about 10080, Rita? Thank you.
So with reviewing the parameters with the safety stick, one of them is it is a violation. So therefore, a fine needs to be attached to that violation. And with that, it's always a good time to review all of our violations. When was the last time they were looked at, increased, and how they relate to other towns surrounding us as well. So I did take the opportunity to look at all that to present to you for your information. And again, with this list that I have here, there are all of our violations that parking enforcement enforces, as well as the police department, such as time limit of parking, no stopping, standing, overtime meter feeding, which is continually feeding the meter, staying in one spot. Meter jumping. Meter jumping is jumping from one meter to the next within the same time zone. And that it was instituted in the 90-minute area because that's what people who work downtown were doing. They would go out every 90 minutes and move their car. So that stops that as well. Then we have prohibited areas, City Hall parking only, police vehicles only, no permit, and head-in parking only. So those are the majority of the violations that we currently issue. So they range currently from $26 for overtime meter, meter feeding, meter jumping, and City Hall parking only at $26. Then the rest of it is normally around $41 or $31, depending upon the scale that's here. I'm looking to bring up some of these violations to what other towns have them as. You'll see in your packet, Berkeley Heights is anywhere from $36 to $49. New Providence is all $41. Springfield is all $44. The reason why the majority of the increases that I'm recommending here for time limit parking is really just making them all the same amount to $41. That's in line with Springfield, Berkeley Heights, and New Providence. The major jump that I'm recommending is in the prohibited parking, specifically for the safety stick violations. So we have other prohibited parking violations that will remain or make up to $41. This is strictly to help cover the $15 cost factor that we have to pay this company. So again, it's also, to me, a better deterrent because really we issue these prohibited parking all the time and same people continue to do it. Sometimes money is not the object, it's their convenience, even though it's illegal. And this is what we're trying to combat here. We're not trying to raise revenue. We're not trying to increase our fines. It's not that. It's a tool. It's a mechanism to stop the behavior. And that's what we're really looking to do here. So again, it goes hand in hand, the safety stick. And then, so I just figured at the same time, let's look at all our violations, see what council would recommend doing. So that's part of the discussion, action, and referral for tonight as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we'll open it up to council members first. Comments on this?
I just have a quick question.
Councilmember Allen?
Because I get this question a lot. Head-in parking only. Is there a reason, through you, Council President, why we do that?
Yes. Before, one of the main reasons was because we had stickers, parking permits on the back of the car. Now, we don't no longer have the stickers. However, the back plate is used more. Really, New Jersey requires a front and back plate. A lot of people don't put a front plate on the car. So if the car is backed in, we can't read that license plate, because if they don't have a front plate.
Okay. Would you
Okay.
give them a ticket if they have the front plate?
Well, we have, and we're able to. The other reason is known that even though a driver will say that their visibility is diminished because they parked head-in, the rule of thumb is it takes them slower to back out because they're constantly looking to make sure that they don't, God forbid, hit someone or hit a vehicle. That's the real reason for head-in parking. It's because if they're backed in, you see them fly out of these parking spaces. So again, that is a reason why it's a safety feature. People like the visibility of backing in so that they can see when they go to get out, but they do that at a high rate of speed.
Other council member comments?
I have a
on this?
question. Is it illegal to back in out front here? Because I did today. I just want to move my car if I have to. I'm going to go jump spots.
You could pay Director McNanny right now.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm asking. Oh.
You'll be okay.
That'll be $41. All right. Other council member comments?
Yes, through you, Councilman. Excuse me. Just looking at the comparison cities, I think this is a good idea. Especially because you said that people are parking illegally and are willing to pay that amount. This is a good deterrent. I just wanted to go, it kind of ties into what you said earlier about it's not really about making money, it's a deterrent against certain behavior.
Right.
The vendor, I remember them saying that they see an initial spike in revenue and then a drop. And that proves that that is exactly what those kind of things are going for, so.
Right, the whole intent is to stop the behavior.
Right.
And if you continue to do so, well, then you're going to continue to get violations. That's the whole reason for it.
Mayor?
Through you, Council President. This is not unlike, probably 4 years ago or so, maybe 5, that we increased the cost of parking for more than 5 hours at the DeForest lots.
Yes.
Because people were willing to park in the DeForest lot for 7 or 8 hours. They didn't care how much it cost them.
Correct,
And they were commuting into the city.
correct.
Right? So the
Right.
reason was we said 5 hours, and beyond 5, it's $50. To make
Correct.
it that much more difficult for people to really stomach that kind of money.
That's correct.
So this is a very similar, it's a variation on a theme.
Right, and then if there is more information, I can break down for you for our next discussion is what each ticket, each of these categories, because the state takes their portion. I just want you to know, they take $11.50 of every violation written in the city of Summit and probably every town in New Jersey. So that comes right off the top. And then that's why the only recommendation for prohibited parking for the safety stick violations is going up to 65, because after they take their $11.50, we give the firm 15, then the balance would be for the city of Summit. And just to reiterate so that there is distinction and clarification, the parking services agency does not receive 1 penny of ticket revenue. It goes to the city's budget. So there is a separation of church and state, so to speak, that we don't have quotas for enforcement. We're doing it for the betterment of the downtown and to stop illegal parking. That's what it's for.
Thank you for all this data and for drilling down into all this information.
Sure.
I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no problem.
It's been a tough couple of years.
Comments from members of council further on the price increase one?
Yes, I had
Councilmember
a
Libby?
really quick question about it. I'm just curious if an analysis has ever been done, or just in your anecdotal experience, to, I think, Councilman Miniger's point about changing behavior and learning over time. I'm curious what you think the amount of out-of-town parking illegally in a non-spot ticket issuance is versus residents who we would expect to learn. They hear about these. I mean, this is going to be a big thing to talk about, around town. They hear about them, and I feel whether or not they themselves get a ticket, I feel like they would learn quick. But I'm just curious, how often do you see out-of-town tickets? Like, could you put a rough number on that?
No, I
Percentage-wise?
couldn't, only because we don't have the vehicle information. We just have a license plate.
I see.
So I don't know if they live in town or they don't live in town.
I see.
And I can't do any research into that. Maybe the court might, I could ask them. Maybe they have
It would be
some
interesting.
data, whether out of state, out of town, they might. But parking services we cannot access that data.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Other comments on this one? Okay, so both of these will go back to community programs and parking services, be discussed there again, and you may see some things coming up on our council agenda related to these things. All right, well, that was a lot of fun, I thought. So, I'm serious about that, I meant that. So,
It's interesting.
it is. So we're now, I think, ready to close the discussion, action, or referral items, and we'll move on to public comments. So at this point in the meeting, council welcomes comments from any member of the public about issues that were not topics on tonight's business agenda. If you have, or if you're reading from a prepared statement, please provide a copy to the city clerk. All right, we're open for business. Public comments. No?
Okay.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
No.
Did I skip?
Council members' comments.
I knew I did it. I knew I did something. I wasn't going to make the whole meeting. Council member comments and new business. Council members. What do we have?
I'll go.
Oh, Delia.
Sure. Councilmember Hamel.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just wanted to provide a couple of quick updates since I just started. We had our first community programs meeting last week. We'll be receiving the initial maybe playground renderings and potential costs associated with that project. I'm looking forward to seeing that document and would like to continue to encourage public engagement on any and all park and recreations areas of interest. Once we review this at the committee, we are very much looking forward to getting any feedback from the community, and we will announce an appropriate time to do that. Parking. We are very pleased that the electronic vehicle charging station is up and running, so thank you, Rita. I will continue to work with Rita and our team to look at the ride-sharing data that was requested. I know there was a few questions from a meeting. Rita and I are working together to look at this data and respond. I just ask for some patience on this for a few more days. I had the opportunity to spend time with Director of Parking Services, Director of Community Services, and tomorrow I'll be taking a tour of the new firehouse. I'm super excited about that. And finally, as residents are giving me questions and concerns, I'm passing those along to mostly Director Schrager. I'm sure he's tired of my emails, but those include the New England Avenue construction sidewalk issue, the road condition project, the recently installed very bright Park Avenue lights, the status of the dog park, and Bryant Pond. And hopefully I'll leave Director Schrager alone for the rest of the week. That's all I have, but thank you very much.
Thank you. Other council member comments? New business? Okay, hearing none, now I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Second?
And all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful evening.